Hi there, I'm Ariel, and I'm here to talk to you about our submission for the Innovation Challenge March 2025 by Microsoft and Azure. This is Interstellar Jobs. First, a high-level overview of our project. Interstellar Jobs is a web application that provides AI-powered job recommendations to connect people with disabilities or impairments to accessible employment opportunities. This is centered around the job coach, where they can search a database of jobs posted by inclusive, accessible employers and receive personalized AI-generated recommendations that highlight potential strengths and challenges based on the applicant's unique abilities and limitations. Our objectives surround three different roles: the job candidate, job coach, and employer. We look to facilitate connections for job candidates requiring supported employment to employers offering accessible opportunities. We look to improve job coach productivity by offering personalized feedback for where their candidates may succeed and need assistance in a role. We want to educate employers about accessible employment and how they can assist supported employees, as well as allow for selected employment opportunities and personalized feedback be easily shared by the job coach to the job candidate and their supervisors. Most importantly, we look to follow responsible best practices when implementing AI-powered features.
Moving on to our architecture diagram, Interstellar Jobs will have two main parts, the job board component and the add job feature. In terms of the Azure services we used the Azure OpenAI GPT 4.0 model and the Azure Cosmos DB for MongoDB cluster. When the user goes to the job board, they will be able to filter a list of jobs based on the various filters we'll see in our demo. And for a specific job that they select, they can request AI-generated notes. These notes will return to them the strengths and challenges they may face in this job, as well as other insights such as the salary range for that job. The user will then be able to export these notes to a PDF to give to another client or job candidate or to save for themselves. A user will also be able to add a job. Adding a job will be stored in our Azure Cosmos DB and will then be able to be seen on the job board.
Okay, so revolving our data set for our mock data, a data source from a Kaggle, source from Kaggle as which is a rich data source that was generated to provide a comprehensive collection of job postings. The data set contains around 1.6 million records with around 23 features, ranging from job description, job role, employment type, and such. Because the job data itself is kind of dirty, it does require additional cleaning to use for our mock data.
Here you can see the landing page for Interstellar Jobs. You can see a description of what our job site does to connect people to accessible employment opportunities, as well as a call to action button to start exploring the job board. Below that, you see a blurb that informs the users of how AI will be used to power feedback that will give them recommendations for matching strengths, potential challenges, and salary insights for each role. Below that, you see the three main roles involved in this job search for assisted employment. You have the job candidate who may need assistance from a job coach who provides them assistance and communicates with the employer. The employer provides the accessible employment opportunity. The last part of this page is a part of our responsible AI implementation, where we inform the user that AI is used to generate feedback based on their information that they've entered for that specific role and how their data is used with the AI. It also provides them insights on how they can get better responses by providing more detailed input.
Moving over to the job board, this will be the main component that the user interacts with. As you can see on the left side here, there's a list of jobs, and at the bottom, we can see 184 pages of jobs. George cleaned and loaded around 5,000 jobs for us to use for mock data. Since it's a Microsoft hackathon, we can go to the top and search for job postings from Microsoft, and we can see 3 postings here. If we did not want to search for a company, we can also search for a location such as New York. And you can see we get 11 pages of jobs returned for New York positions, and we have more filters such as the employment type, the workplace type if they want to be remote or in person, as well as salary filters. And now I'll hand it off to Mahir to go over adding a job.
Yeah, so aside from the filters, we have this add job feature. We wanted to add a job that currently exists. So we went on the Microsoft website and found this job that we liked. I preloaded the information on this separate tab, but as you can see, you just enter the necessary fields, and when you're ready, you submit, and that'll create the job to our board. So then we can go on the board and it appears as the first option. One of the features that we have is generating AI notes. So I'm going to go through that right now. Basically, when you want to generate some AI notes, it'll ask you for some preferences that you have for the job that you're looking for, as well as any impairments that you might have. So for this example, I can say that I'm an engineer. Let's say I am an experienced web developer. And for another preference, I can say I like to work with people. For impairments, here I can list anything that might make working difficult for me. So for an example, we wanted to use ADHD. So now we're going to generate the AI notes. It'll take a few seconds, but essentially it's going to take this information as well as the job information to generate a list of strengths and challenges that I might face doing this job. So you'll see that for strengths, it looked into the fact that I am already an experienced web developer and realized that a lot of parts of this specific job would be a good match for me. And it listed that as one of the bullet points. For challenges, it focused in on the fact that I have ADHD, but rather than scaring me away from this job, it will suggest ways that I can manage my impairment while doing the job to make it easier for me to get through whatever these responsibilities are. Furthermore, it also gives salary insight. So it'll just take the salary and industry and kind of compare it with other jobs that are in the field and let you know if this is a good job for the salary range. And finally, we have the ability to export. So what I can do is I can take a few jobs and let's say I want to send them to a candidate. I can press export and that will create a PDF with all the job notes that I generated, as well as just the blank job for all the other jobs I selected. And now I can send this to a candidate who might be interested in some of these jobs. We're going to go back to our presentation, and Ariel, you can take over.
Sure. So now I'm going to talk a little bit more about how we used responsible AI in our application. So to do this, I'm going to go through each of the pillars of responsible AI that Microsoft has laid out on their website. The first one I'll talk about is fairness. So we ensured that AI recommendations focus on helping candidates find roles that align with their abilities rather than excluding them based on bias filtering. Next one, reliability and safety. We tested for recommendation accuracy and selected models trained on relevant, high-quality data to minimize hallucinations and ensure consistent performance. For privacy and security, we protected sensitive user data, such as limitations or disabilities, by ensuring it's not stored in the model or visible to employers. As far as inclusiveness, we provided a high-contrast UI to support users with low vision. We included an export feature so job coaches can generate and share results with candidates who may not be able to access the site directly. For transparency, we included explanations on the landing page about how to use the AI feedback and the risks involved. We documented the current AI model version in the README on our GitHub. For accountability, we listed the development team members in the GitHub repository, and we included a link to the repository on the footer of our website to allow users to provide feedback or report issues with our AI. Now I'll hand over next steps.
Thank you, Ariel. For the next steps after this hackathon, we would like to add in using Azure Managed Identity authentication for different types of user profiles. We think our application will cater to 3 users: an employer, a job candidate as well as the job coach. And using Azure Managed Identity, we would like to store specific information regarding each three of those users and show them specific views when they land on our website. As you could see from our demo, any user can see the job board plus add a job. In the future, implementing user profiles would only allow a user to, or I'm sorry, an employer to add a job, for an example. This would include profile management for job coaches to input specific candidate information, so they would have their own list of the candidates that they coach as based on their location, their needs, their interests, as well as their ability to upload a resume. And our goal would be to automatically feed this information to Azure OpenAI for job recommendations.
Also, we do want to improve any sort of tooling to help enable coaches to provide better collaboration with their clients. Some of which would be to include allowing coaches to input notes regarding the candidate's current behavior and their current ongoing job. This additional information allowing coaches to store potential notes that can help the candidate in future potential matches. Another enablement to be considered is to make the coaches being able to transfer notes or candidate profiles a little bit easier, where we want to have candidate profiles alongside with their notes and having an easy way to transfer between coaches if one is busy and occupied and will allow another to kind of take over.
Again, the final thing we want to focus on in the future is employer education for accessible employment. We want to promote inclusive employment by providing employers with resources that support the integration of employees with disabilities. We want to ensure employers are informed, confident, and successful in creating accessible workplaces. So that's the end of our presentation. Yeah, we are 4 students in Georgia Tech's OMSCS program participating in this hackathon. You can find our LinkedIn's on this page if you want to check this out. And here's our GitHub for the project. And I can go on there for now. And once you're on there, you can see the README and you can read up more on it and go into the code. Yeah, thank you for listening.